Hey guys, Mathel here once again. Today going to do a bit of a vlogish sort of thing, just talk about Ascendancy, upcoming patches, that sort of thing. So if you've had trouble sleeping recently, this may be the video for you. Um, yeah, I've done a similar sort of video before in the past, talking about what to expect or what I plan for upcoming patches, but since there's a bit more changes to this one, I'll more or less reiterate how I go about patches, expansions, all that sort of thing, and maybe some pointers you want to take yourself to your own sort of expectations. So essentially, there's going to be a really big patch or expansion coming out in about a month, which is Ascendancy, and a lot of things get changed. Like we're talking a whole new subclass of skill tree sort of thing called Ascendancy classes, something like that. I don't know. Basically, there's going to be a lot of changes, and we really don't know what to expect at this stage. They've given us a sneak preview about certain classes and what you can do with their trees and what you're likely to expect, and it looks pretty cool and very just customizable. Like it's going to make a lot more choice and weight going into your choice when making a class and a spec, a skill to use, a character, all that. It might also pigeonhole us in certain directions. For example, I'll mostly talk about Assassin for this one anyway. Assassin on the Shadow Tree, it's very crit-centric, so you might often find that whenever you want to build a crit character, it's going to be a Shadow, and more specifically, Assassin. Who knows at this stage, but that's what we're looking at. Anyway, so the way I am going to approach it and do approach it, people ask me all the time, what are you going to do for Ascendancy? What class are you going to play? What skill are you going to use? Or, what build are you going to make? And essentially, I have no answer for you. I don't know, and I don't have any plans. I wait until a lot more information is out so I can make an actual educated decision. Or I just wait until like the very last minute when the server's about to come up and I just wing it. I'll pick a new skill and I'll play around with it. But essentially, at this point, I don't think there's much actual purpose in thinking about what build you're going to play, what Ascendancy class you're going to go for, and what's going to be affected, because so much is going to change that we really have no idea what's going to be viable, not viable, what'll work stronger based on Ascendancy classes, what'll be weaker, whatever, because we have no idea about what they're going to change for the actual game itself in terms of buffs, nerfs, rearranging things. So just as an example, I will talk about the Assassin a bit more, and that is right here. So this is the Assassin Ascendancy class for the Shadow. Now, if you're not familiar with Ascendancy classes, essentially by the end you're going to be able to pick one of 3 Ascendancy classes for each character. You only pick one and you have 6 points to use. So by the looks of it, you'll get like a notable and then a couple of other points into other things. So there's going to be extra decisions to make. It's going to make life living hell for someone like me who makes a lot of builds. But in any case, that's what we're going to be dealing with. So what I'm talking about with Assassin, for example, is, say, Deadly Infusion. That looks like a game changer. Like 0.5% base crit per power charge. So that means your 5 base crit weapon, like a Thicket Bow, if you got 5 power charges, turns into a 7.5 base, and all of a sudden Thickets are crit viable, just as an example. Makes a lot of weapons crit viable and builds crit viable that previously weren't. So also you got something like 10 crit multi per charge, which kind of is, just as good as, let's say, the crit multi gem itself. So it's a very large boost from this one sort of notable you get on your Ascendancy class, which really just opens up a large amount of possibilities for weapons you can use and builds you can make for just the crit side of things with an Assassin on the Shadow Tree, which means that you might find you're just going to be making only crit builds via Assassin. But as an example of what I'm talking about things that might change and might be different, so you can't really make too many plans yet, is let's just say crit, for example. As far as we know, crit might have like a really reduced crit multiplier percentage as opposed to right now. Right now the base is 150% multiplier. It could just go down to 0, and then you have to scale from there, or 100%, and then scale from there through items, passives, all that. Or as another shit example, crit. We open up the patch notes and it's for expansion, and it says critical strikes no longer make an additional sound. That crit sound we're talking about, that feel good crit sound, literally unplayable. No one's ever playing crit ever again. That's something that I'm kind of saying could happen. Probably not going to, but could happen. And so, why you should be a bit cautious. But it's just kind of too early to tell and to say, to implement exactly what you see here into your builds, because that's, I think, what a lot of people are getting a bit too excited about. You look at the Ascendancy classes and you just slam it straight into your build, which isn't entirely fair. So, you have your build, let's just say Fakener, cast on crit, Cyclone Discharge, and you just take it exactly as it is and you say, but then I've also got all this Ascendancy shit. And that's not entirely fair because we don't know what's changing, what's going to be better or worse, how you can actually implement some of these things into your builds. If there's going to be nerfs associated with those certain skills or with the actual passive tree around the entire class, or weapon crit nerfs, like who know, honestly, I could envision them taking crit down on every weapon to 5, and then making it so you have to roll an assassin just to keep up, high enough crit chance for every weapon, basically. Every weapon has 5 crit, let's just say, and then that means you are, to roll a crit build, you have to be an assassin on Shadow, and you have to have 5, 6, 7 power charges or whatever. So it makes a very specific way of building crit, for example. Now, that's just pure speculation, that's just me pulling something out of my ass, but I'm saying that could be what changes, and that could be why it's way too early to actually make any plans around these classes. There's another good example is inevitable judgment here, which is critical strikes ignore enemy elemental resistances, and non-crits, who the fuck cares? The point here is, imagine shoving this into most crit elemental builds right now. Crit spell builds, crit cast on crit, whatever. Put this directly into the current game and into current builds, and you got one hell of a broken ass build and broken mechanics, because all of a sudden your damage is scaling way more insane than ever before, and you can do higher level maps, higher level bosses, full amounts of damage, and they're going to die so quickly that I don't know, it's actually hard to comprehend. Because right now, a lot of the reason certain bosses in certain high-end maps don't die immediately is because of their resistances. They have very high resists because they're in high level maps, and because they're bosses. So you can't really think too much about the future of the game and Ascendancy before we have all the facts. We know the full story. So that will be patch notes, and actually probably even trying it out the first week, 2 weeks. It's going to be too early to say, melee is going to be shit or range is going to be too good until you actually try it out, until you actually wait and see. So all I'm saying is, get excited for Ascendancy by all means, but wait to jump to too many conclusions in terms of what it's going to mean to us, because we really have no real idea as to what GGG are going to do balance-wise for skills, weapons, builds, playstyles, metas, all that. Yeah. But yeah, besides that, Ascendancy brings a few other nifty things, like Emperor Azaro. Who knows what he's going to really need? Maybe at the higher levels he'll be an actual thing that we want to fight a lot and build around. The Labyrinth shit, that could create a whole new sort of meta of builds. Could create a whole new meta of builds also that just we haven't really tried to make before, and makes them more valuable, or certain skills and items more valuable is what I'm saying, because it might be a really desirable thing to do. I have no idea. What I'm trying to say is keep your mind open. Don't make too many conclusions. Don't make too many plans. Just think about, have a look at things, get a bit excited, but don't think I'm going to put this into my build or my build's going to be now sick based off of this. Usually, games like this, builds rise and fall. There's shifts. Some skill will be amazing for a while, and then they'll nerf it, they'll buff another skill, give that other skill another chance to shine, and your favorite skill's gonna be left in the dust for a while. That's how it is. There's just cycles, there's rotations, and you need to keep an open mind and play, whatever they offer you, and try and have fun with different things rather than just 3 years ago roll Spark or Spork totems and say, this is my build, I'm playing it for the next 40 years. Because that just won't leave you too happy in the end. Not in a game like this. So that's about all I had to say on the subject. I don't really have any plans, so keep an open mind yourself. And other than that, we've got about a month of just being blue balled for an expansion with Talisman League still, which obviously isn't what we want to do when an expansion looms. But I'll still be streaming, I'll still be refining a few older builds, seeing if I can bring them up to kind of better standards than previously. And yeah, that's all I've got to say. So if you're already asleep thanks to this video, you are most welcome. If you're not, and you by some miracle listened/watched it, appreciate that. I'll see you guys next time, on stream, not on stream, whatever. Take it easy. Thanks for watching. See you guys.